Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TraderMerlin Show for your Wednesday edition. It's Tesla earnings day. I've been waiting for this one. I actually did make a trade today on it. I wasn't sure whether I was going to. Kind of felt a little apprehensive. Decided to pull the trigger kind of this morning, and I'll walk you guys through that one here in just a second. As a quick note of housekeeping, I keep forgetting to say this. Friday, I will not be doing a show, and the reason for that is, as you guys know, I am a huge fish fan. Oh, my camera's all crooked. I'm a huge fish fan. That's the band Fish. Let me fix my camera here real quick. There we go. Huge fish fan, and they were playing up at Hollywood Bowl Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. So I'll be going to all three shows. Therefore, Friday, leaving a bit early. Got a friend coming in from NorCal, so taking that day off to enjoy. Hey, drive carefully, Big Ab. Drive carefully out there. I thought you said drinking and listening, but driving and listening, probably better not to be drinking. All right, that's the first piece. And then tomorrow, kind of interesting, you know, we've had this discussion about will the reserve currency of the world switch away from the US dollar? It seems to be a very hot buzz topic right now in the industry, and I have my views on it, and they may be totally incorrect. They might be accurate. I don't know. Time will tell. But I thought I don't want to just sit here and give my ideas. I like when I can bounce my ideas off somebody, have somebody say you're out of your mind, or hey, that's a good idea, and vice versa. So one of my longtime friends, actually the guy who signed me up for my class at Online Trading Academy back in 1998, long time ago, will be joining me tomorrow. John O'Donnell and I will have a debate talking about the reserve currency of the world and really what's going to replace the dollar. So if it hypothetically happens, what are the alternatives? And then maybe what are some positions or how can we potentially play that? So that'll be our discussion for tomorrow. Will be the reserve currency of the world, the US dollar, what might replace it. And of course, that will be with John O'Donnell, which makes it exciting because you guys don't just get to hear me. And as Boss Poopa says, if so, then whose currency? That's the $50 quadrillion question, right? Is what's it going to be? My gut tells me at some point, yeah, it's just the natural course of events. We'll lose the reserve currency status, but what's it going to be, right? It's got to be something that everybody agrees on, the market agrees on, and that will be part of our long discussion for tomorrow. All right. Hi, Mimi. Welcome. I'm glad you're still listening out there. So let's talk right off the bat about Tesla's earnings. They obviously reported after market today. I will bring up the chart here in just a second to show you. I call them the popcorn trade of the day because typically Tesla has moves that look like that. Just crazy swings. Grab your popcorn, kick back, enjoy, and watch it. I'm sure many of you did. So here's the chart we looked at yesterday, right? When we did the show yesterday, this is where we ended up with. We were looking at kind of three outcomes here. And there was a question that came in from, let me get the gentleman's props here for the gentleman. It was from John. John asked me yesterday, I said, how are you playing Tesla's earnings? And I said, I'm really not playing Tesla's earnings. If anything, I might look to sell short at this extreme at 214, way up at the top, or potentially buy at, I have 164 down here, and I also have the 144 mark. Well, oops, there's the chart. 214 at the top, 164 down in the middle, and then at the bottom you see the 144 mark. So right now, you can see Tesla is trading at 174. It's down about 3.6% in the after-hours session. I will show you the 5-minute chart here so you can see the intraday activity. It really didn't have wild fluctuations. I mean, yes, it's sold off, but normally you get huge whipsaws. And this, honestly, 3% for Tesla, that's nothing. I mean, that's like one beer for an alcoholic. It's not going to do anything. 4% for Tesla is a drop in the bucket. I'm really surprised it didn't move more. We'll see what happens when it finally opens up tomorrow. But I want to just kind of show you the numbers that came out, at least the top line big numbers, right? So here is what was reported on Zacks.com. Their estimate was to make 83 cents per share. This reported that they came out at 85 cents. So they shows that they slightly beat there, which is funny because I'm looking here. Here's the two numbers. I'm seeing a different one. The expectation was 86 cents and they came out at 85. So wherever I'm getting the Zacks estimate is different from the industry expert, I guess. Hey, Doc S. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Joachim. Thank you. And no comment why. Just throwing money right at the beginning. I appreciate that, man. Helping out the cause. I appreciate that. So here's the two numbers to look at. Their revenue was expected to be $23.35 billion. And in reality, they came out at 22.33. So they missed on revenue. Is this a surprise to anybody here that Tesla missed on revenue? At a certain point, you got to know that GM, that Ford and Toyota and Nissan and Rivian and Lucid and all these different competitors are going to start to chip away a little bit at this market dominance that Tesla has had for the better part of a decade. I mean, they've had a pretty good head start on the competition. If you look at finance, and anybody here has a finance degree, it's one of the things I'll tell you about basic business is, if you're first to market with a product or service and you're the best product in that space, you can command a very high price, even if your product isn't that great. Not to say that Tesla's not great, but just using the basic collegiate textbook example of product to market and companies coming to market. So if you're the first one out there, you can charge a high price for your product, especially if you have a great product. You're the only shop in town, right? That's what Tesla has enjoyed for a long time. But now you have so many competitors. Road and Track, if you want a great article, Road and Track did an article that shows all of the different electric vehicles out right now and ranks all of them. Some really good competition coming up in this space. Even competitors like Toyota, Audi, Mercedes, BMW, all coming out with electric cars. And that's on top of the economy ones like Toyota, Honda, Nissan, etc. When that starts to chip away a little bit, what happens? If you're the lead dog, you've been charging a very high price for your product, but competition starts to come in, what you do is you start dropping your prices, your profit margins start to decline, but you're also trying to squash out some of those new competitors and make your vehicle more attractive to them. You've already got market dominance. That's what Tesla has, absolute market dominance in the electric vehicle space. There's no argument about that one. But if their vehicle is, let's say your vehicle is 50,000. I forget which one it was. I think it's a Model 3 was like 50,000. And your new electric Prius is 40,000. Well, you drop your Model S or your Model 3 down to 40, and now you're giving that consumer a straight across the board choice for vehicle. And that's what Tesla has been doing. So that was the big news today, was that they were cutting their prices. These numbers, personally, I don't think are that bad, especially given the fact we've had a sideways choppy market and massive competition coming in the space for Tesla. So what was the trade that I made out there today? Oh, thank you, Mimi. Wow, you're supporting my whiskey fund or my beer fund at Hollywood Bowl this weekend when I go see Fish. Beer's like $20 a pop up there. So I actually followed what we did yesterday. I waited a little bit this morning, wanted to see what was going on with Tesla, and I didn't, it was already selling off, so I didn't do anything to the upside. So I was stuck with these two choices here. And the option that I finally went with, I sold at 162.50. So that puts me just below the low from back on March 13th. So there's the 162.50 right there at that dotted line. So I sold that one. And the reason I chose that is just the premium. Now, I thought about potentially selling the 144, but the premium just wasn't there. And I don't want to sell this for a month. I really wanted a short-term play here. So what I did is I sold the options expiring Friday. So really, I've got a 2-day option here. It paid just over 1%. Actually, no, just under 1%. I collected $1.50 on that. So it's just a hair under 1% for 2 days worth of holding it. So I thought that was okay, worth the risk for me. Now, I'm still on the hook, right? If you look at where we are right now, let's go to the 160. Where we are right now is right here. So I've still got about $11 to go by Friday before I start to lose on this position. And actually not even lose. Remember, if I collected $1.50, then my average price is actually 161, which would be down here even further. So that's the trade I'm in right now. I told you I would notify you on that one if that was going to happen. And I did take that trade today. I only did 2 of those, so it's not like a huge profit maker for me. It'll be a $300 gain for 2 days, but that's fine. Chip away a little bit here, a little bit there. And again, really, what does this mean for Tesla going forward? I didn't get a chance to read through, just haven't had time to go through the conference call and see what their views are. But it sounds like the Cybertruck's going to be rolling out this year. I have a feeling the Cybertruck is going to be one of the most in-demand vehicles to ever be released. So once that thing comes out, you'll probably have a huge aftermarket resale on this one, and I think that'll do really well for Tesla from a branding, from a reputation, and from more hype into Tesla, like they could have any more of that. So that to me is a very positive factor for Tesla going forward. On the daily, from a technical perspective though, what have we done? We really haven't done much, right? I've got that yellow box drawn on the screen, and we really have just kind of traversed sideways looking kind of flat, and that may be a reflection of people knowing that revenues were starting to slow down, that competition was starting to increase for Tesla. So as little move as it has today, it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing this type of reaction. It's not like Tesla is done. It was just, okay, they barely missed. Price dropped, right now 3.62% slide. It was down 2% on the day. So not that big of a deal. Ugly truck of the year, Big Up, I'm with you. I think it's one of the ugliest trucks ever. But until I sit in it and actually see it up close and personal, I'll reserve my judgment. But yeah, I think it's like somebody who failed a design class and tried to draw a car but just can't draw one and just went, oh, there's a boxy looking shape, looks cool. But if some of its utilitarian aspects are as good as they say they are, it might be interested in that one myself. But I wouldn't buy one. As you guys know, I wouldn't spend that kind of money on a truck. I've got my reliability with my Toyota, and I'm happy with that one for a long, long time. But you're right, it's pretty ugly. I'm seeing all kinds of crazy accessories. So I saw the Cybertruck backpack. So it's a backpack that looks just like the Cybertruck, and all these different camping accessories are being designed for it. It hasn't even been released yet, and there's all these aftermarket add-ons you can get for the Cybertruck. So could be pretty interesting to see how that market explodes as well. So all in all, I think that the earnings announcement for Tesla was honestly pretty good. I kind of thought that they would miss more. I thought they'd have more of a deeper loss here, not loss, but a pullback in their earnings. And they missed by 1 penny on the earnings announcement. Big deal. Who cares? Truckers don't like it because the door makes you enter through the sleeper. Bring it. Oh, you mean big rig? The big rig trucks? Yeah, truckers may not like it, but you know what truckers do like? The fact that they can sit back and go like this at some point and just fall asleep while they're driving their truck. I'm pretty sure if I was a trucker, if I was worried about bringing dirt in through the back door or having a vehicle that I could literally go to sleep in on 8-hour truck drives, I would be okay with dragging dirt in. Drive mine a Lucid car. Man, it looks nicer. Yeah, the Lucid looks really nice. I wanted to spend some time going into this, but again, I'm just too busy with other stuff right now. People ask, well, Tesla's going to lose its market share. And I got to ask you, to who, right? If Tesla is going to lose their market share and really take a dive, who is going to be the one that benefits from that? And people, say Lucid. All right, well, let's look at Lucid. Lucid doesn't look good at all. I mean, Lucid just kind of pegged to its lows here, sitting at $7.56. While it's a beautiful car, Tesla dropping its price as they're doing on their vehicle, on some of their vehicles right now, makes it more difficult for Lucid to sell their vehicle at a higher price, right? Because now Lucid looks like the luxury car, and I could go buy a Tesla which has a proven track record, driverless capabilities, and a lot more features than the Lucid does, even though Lucid may look much, much prettier. So I would argue that Lucid might get some market share, but the chart just looks flat. Oh, what about Nikola? Someone brought up trucks here. Here's remember this? Remember I said this one's probably going to go significantly lower? Who thought that Nikola would actually be a penny stock? That is crazy. We saw it when it was doing their SPAC back here in the day. It shot up, and I said, short Nikola, short Nikola, short Nikola. You can go back and watch the archives of this show. It was actually right as we started doing the TraderMerlin show. This is right as COVID hit. And I was saying, short Nikola, short Nikola. This thing is, I don't think they're going to reap much benefit here. If anything, this one will get bought up by somebody else, their assets and some of their intellectual property. But that one's done. What about Rivian? Rivian looks just like Lucid. Right? Downtrend. It's actually forming a base right now. And yeah, it's a nice car. I really think Lucid's a beautiful car, but it doesn't matter how sexy your car is. If the price point is higher than the number one out there, probably not going to get much traction. Tom knows the industry. Tesla will lose to the 30 brands that rank above them in JD Power initial quality. Maybe. Rob, I think that Nikola will probably go to zero. I think it's going to get bought. I think it'll get bought by somebody, and does it pop to $2 or something? It's not worth me to make that play. But I'm just kind of wondering, who is going to be the beneficiary here of kind of an all-electric one. Rivian looks really ugly here on a price chart. I like the Rivian truck. There's a few in my neighborhood really like that. Plus the SUV one and the way they've done it. I'm sure most of you or some of you probably know way more than I do with this, but Rivian really works off this skateboard model, which is the wheels, the chassis, the battery are all contained in in a specific skateboard, and they can just drop different cabins, if you will, configurations like a truck or an SUV or even sports car drop right on top of that skateboard. So it gives them a competitive advantage when you're looking at creating different model types, because you have your drivetrain and everything, that base skateboard, your wheels and motor and batteries are all the same for all the vehicles. You just plop on a different cover. This may seem kind of weird, but to think of this, imagine one day, and this could be a very real reality in the near future, where you pull into your garage in your XYZ electric vehicle, and you pull it in and you park it, hit a button, and in the ceiling of your garage, there's 3 or 4 different body types to choose from. So you're like, oh, I'm going camping this week. Okay, it takes off the sports car version, the whole body and everything, takes it off and drops on the camper SUV version that you have. And it's just clicks on, done, back out of the driveway, and you're ready to go. At some point, we may actually have one car body, a chassis, and you could buy different removable cars that sit on top of that chassis. You could have your sports car, your Jeep, whatever you want. It's kind of interesting to think the future like that, where I can almost have this like a Lego type of car where I can just plug in the type of vehicle I want. I know I'm getting way out there. Tons of Lucid around here. They look great. Well, Chris, you're a mechanic. Do you see much repairs on those bad boys? Who's going to fix that Lucid? Not me. Don't even know where to order the parts. Yeah, I think that will be a big problem for it. Tesla, at least you have a big network here in the U.S. Lucid and Rivian just starting out. It's going to be harder to get some of those pieces and parts. But as there's adoption in the industry, you'll see more and more come online. What will probably happen is some of these companies will be acquired by other major name brands. Your Ford, your Chryslers, your GM, and things like that. But right now, I think that Tesla is still the one to go to. And Tom's right. The J.D. Power reports that I read don't show great quality of Tesla. Of course, I've seen other reports that say it's got great quality. So I really don't know who to trust. I don't own that vehicle anyway. But don't think F-150, Silverado, Ram, and Sierra owners will switch back to the future Back to the Future truck. The trucks are the most important sector for the automakers. Agreed. Actually, the only one that I was actually thinking of buying and really serious about buying is the F-150 Lightning. I really thought about getting the F-150 Lightning, but I'll wait a few years. I'm in no rush to get another vehicle. So there are some other ones. You could look at, I think, what's it called? BYD cars out of China. That's one that Warren Buffett has big holdings in as an alternative, as an electric vehicle company. You also have NIO, which I don't see much of NIO here in the U.S., but they are a big Chinese brand. They've all got that same basic chart. So if I look at the major EV companies, and talking pure EV plays, here's Rivian, Lucid, Tesla. And so Tesla is certainly struggling. It's in the fact it's going sideways for the better part of the last 2-3 months. It's definitely well off the lows, and based off these numbers and their price cuts, my guess is they'll probably see more sales in the upcoming quarter based off those price cuts for some of their vehicles. So again, we'll have to wait and see. This does make me somewhat bullish on Tesla, which is part of the reason I'm okay exercise those shares. If I do get those 200 shares of Tesla by Friday, great. If not, I'll collect my premium and move on to another trade. Most electric cars are used as second cars, and they already have a minivan as some big gasoline car. Yeah, there's one out there, Canoe. Have you guys heard of the Canoe? CANOO, I think is what it's called. Let me see here. Canoe Inc. Yeah, here it is. Here's another one, Canoe. They really have a very unique looking vehicle. How many of you have heard of Canoe? If not, I can bring up the page and check it out. It almost looks like the old microbus from VW, right? And it looks like a minibus. Let me bring that one up for you, just so you guys can see it. I know we're digressing here, but Canoe, really interesting ones. Canoe Car Company. They call them the lifestyle vehicle. So here is Canoe. Let me see if I can find one for you. A weird looking vehicle, and really what they're designing these things for is meant to be like distribution and shipping, and your Amazon Prime truck or your FedEx truck or things like that to look like this. They look really weird like this in the delivery panel van, but I'm weird. I kind of like it. You have all these different versions of it. Remember I talked about that skateboard platform? That's what they've got. So they're using that same basic style of, let's create one frame. Let me see if I can bring this up closer. And there's your skateboard. So that's got the motors in it. The battery pack should all be inside this subframe. Yeah, you got 20 batteries in there, 80 kilowatt hours, all in that subframe. And I don't know what, all the different specs on it, but all-wheel drive options, really, really cool idea. But on top of that, you can build these different bodies. So this is the lifestyle vehicle over here on the left. I kind of like this one. I know it looks stupid, but you know what? It almost looks like something that you would see in a landing on the moon video, right? Doesn't this look like something straight off of a lunar landing? Got these crazy headlights, this huge glass bubble windshield, but you know, I'm a truck guy. I like to throw things in the back and do what I want with it. Got a big platform on the top here. I mean, hell, this platform's big enough to put a tent on. You can just sleep on. Yeah, low center of gravity, sure. It looks weird, but you know, this is another one of those ones that is going to compete in that space. We'll see what happens in the future. Anyway, this is another one that I think is an interesting play. I don't own any of this one, but the charts for the EV companies, especially startups, all look the same. Now, I was reading yesterday, and some of these electric vehicle companies are getting special tax treatment, right? You can get tax credits for special EVs. What's interesting in that is if you run through the list of the vehicles that you can get a tax credit on in the United States, there's no Nissan Leaf, there's no Porsche Taycan, there's none. It's like the Mercedes isn't on that list. If you buy a Mercedes electric vehicle, you don't get a tax credit. You can get them on some Chevys, some GMs, some Fords. It's really about where the batteries are being made. I was surprised to see that Tesla actually is on that list, but it wasn't all Teslas. There were certain models of Teslas that were on that list where you could get a tax credit for your EV purchase. And you know, going forward, you know, that kind of is an incentive for me to buy one as well. I was like, well, maybe I'll get a little bit of a discount, but I'm one of those people that I don't care what my car looks like. Hell, I don't even care what my clothing looks like. I wear what makes me happy and what I like. And I look at a vehicle like this, it's the utility that I'm looking for, right? I can fit 4 people in this thing comfortably. I can all kinds of hauling and whatever I want. It's got all kinds of compartments, storage, awesome stuff. You know, that makes it much more interesting to me than buying something like this. I'm not really a luxury car kind of guy, but I know you guys are talking about Lucid. Oops, there's Lucid. I mean, these are pretty vehicles. I do like this car, but the amount of money for them, $240,000 for the Sapphire, this looks like a Tesla. All right, the $138,000 for the Grand Touring, nope. Base model, $87,000. Sorry, nah. I'd rather go with this kind of bare bones electric truck that's goofy, but gives me the utility that I want. Anyway, I know, I'm weird. Anyway, we went off topic there a little bit. We'll move back into our discussion for the day. Let me run through. Oh, there was a question that came through just before the show. I didn't get a chance to put it in. What about BYD? We talked about BYD as a potential trade setup for today. It was a no trade, right? We looked at that as a double shooting star. Here's BYD, Boyd Gaming. You know, today it actually went even deeper into that zone, way up to the very top of that zone, and it's not a trade for me. Why? Because it didn't open up above this dotted red line. As you can tell where the green candle bottom is, it opened below and then rallied most of the day. So this was an easy no trade for me. Didn't make it on BYD, but I did make the trade on Tesla. And you can see here, this is showing extended hours trading. Let's just go regular hours trading. So there you go with your, it looks like it actually opened up slightly above it. No, the first one was tipped down below it, so it wouldn't have made a trade for me. Very low drag, wind resistance. On the Lucid, yes. On this bad boy over here, there's some pretty big drag, I'm sure, on that one. This is not going to be this isn't the plaid version where I can do 0 to 60 in 2 point something seconds. I don't care about that kind of speed. What I want is functionality and practicality and be able to take this thing anywhere I want and have fun with it. So, but we all have different interests, right? Some of you want those luxury cars. I mean, yeah, this I'm sure this Sapphire is an amazing machine, but if you gave me the choice and said, hey, I'll give you a Sapphire, this Lucid Sapphire, what would I do with it? I would take it. I would sell that vehicle. I'd even give you a discount. If it's worth $250, I'll sell it to you for $230. I'll give you a $20,000 discount on it. I'd take that $220,000. I would spend probably $60,000 of it, and I'd buy myself a brand new Toyota Tundra, fully loaded TRD Pro, and the rest of it I'd put in a trading account and continue to trade that money. Okay. So that was it. I didn't actually get any of your questions, so there are no more questions that came through from last night through today. At least I didn't see any fresh ones that came in. So if you got some, let me know. I'm happy to get into it. A new vehicle reminds me to take my multivitamin. Nice shape. It is a weird looking pod, isn't it? Form over function. One of my designer friends, it's always form over function. I listened to YouTube of Gary Gensler grilling Tom Emrys. Oh, isn't it the best? God, it was so good. And I meant to bring that one up for you guys today, but I didn't. I try to do so many damn things on a regular basis on this program. Let's see. I actually had it up, but I subsequently closed it. But the Emrys one was great. The one that was better was the McHenry. McHenry was the best grilling of him that I've seen. It was just absolutely fantastic. And what it means to you and me, the Gary Gensler testimony, I'm actually trying to find it over here again, is that Gary Gensler will probably be out of a job. Gary Gensler, McHenry. I'll just see if I can find this one real quick, just so you can see the piece on. Okay, here we go. Hold on. I'm going to play this one for you just because it's worth it.
One of the,
give me just a minute. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio.
Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities. But I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to...
Thank you. Sorry. I muted myself because there was an echo through it. I apologize. So let me set real quickly the basis for what I'm talking about, and that is this. Ethereum, which is the number 2 cryptocurrency in the world, is right now under a lot of scrutiny from regulators. Actually, the whole crypto space is. So Gensler was on Capitol Hill getting grilled yesterday by these senators, specifically McCarthy and Emrys. Now, I'm not muted anymore. It's gone. And thank you guys for saying something because I wouldn't have seen it. They're asking him about his stance on Ethereum and just cryptocurrency in general. There's one scene where you can watch his hand, Gary Gensler's hand is actually shaking. You know that he's nervous. And ultimately what this means is there's a motion already put in place to have him removed as chair of the SEC because he has been incompetent. And the Emrys part, he actually calls him an incompetent cop on the beat, which basically just degrades everything that Gensler has achieved as SEC chairman. But this one specifically is great because the challenge I have, and many of you have, is we're told that it's a security on one hand, and on the other hand is someone saying that it's a commodity. Well, what is it? And again, we should have these people figure this out. It's their job to do it. It should be rather easy. So what was just asked by McHenry here was, what is Ethereum? I've got one person saying it's a commodity. I got another one saying it's a security. What is it? So this is the setting the stage for the grilling, and I'll make sure I fix my microphone here as we go back.
Talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist, is Ether a commodity or a security?
Without speaking to anyone.
I know you've repeatedly said you're not going to speak to one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
I'm asking
middle,
about
that the
one.
public is anticipating a profit based on the...
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private. This should be no shock to you. I'm asking this question. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals...
I'm asking you about the facts and the
middle.
law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also...
But you have
aware-
prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is
All
anticipating...
right, so let me just
profit
ask a
based
second
on those
question then.
efforts.
Do you think it serves the market for an object to be viewed by the commodities regulator as a commodity and the securities regulator to be viewed as a security? Do you think that provides safety and soundness for the product? Do you think it provides consumer protection? Do you think it serves the value of innovation? I think no should be a very simple answer for you here.
I think...
That uncertainty is bad, is it not?
And I think that Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee...
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
All right, I'll leave it there. I know you guys don't need to watch a video through another video. But anyway, this Senator McHenry, I think someone mentioned here, he's from North Carolina. Awesome. I mean, that was a political ass whooping. He literally got punched and dragged down the street and beaten up. And all he was asking was simple questions. Is this a security or a commodity? And he just kept trying to not answer it, which is very unbecoming of the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. So this is something for all of us, keep your eye on this one going forward. And NJ, I'm not going to play the second one, but look at the one that Ebers did. This one was bad because he specifically said, what is Ethereum? Is it you can't make it any more black and white. Is it the blue pill or the red pill? There's no choice here. It's one or the other, and it's your job to figure that out and tell the American people because nobody knows. Absolutely destroyed him right there. But the Emers one is like, oh my goodness. Every time that Gensler tries to respond, Gensler starts going on through some lengthy example, and Emers cuts him off and just will not have his bullshit. It is brilliant. If you want... I was thinking maybe I could find... on my Twitter, what I'll do is I will post the links to the two videos so you can watch the Emers one, but the Emers one is absolutely brilliant. Bottom line is, going forward, we will have a new chairman of the SEC. Now, what does this mean? Let me ask you guys. If Gensler gets removed, the concern for me is, I believe he's appointed, and it will most likely be appointed by the Democrats. The Democrats, I believe, are the ones that put him in place to begin with. So we may not get anything better with regards to being pro-crypto. I mean, Gensler taught the class on crypto at MIT. You would think he'd be more pro-crypto, but he's not. He actually may be pro-crypto, but he's not pro-creating rules on understanding what exactly is a cryptocurrency. So if there is a change of leadership in the Securities and Exchange Commission, one of the big arguments that's going to happen is it's because of their ineptitude at creating laws that are easy to identify for companies in the digital asset world. If they replace Gensler with somebody who will create laws, whether those are harsh or hands-off type of approach, at least we'll have clarity. What do you think that does to the crypto ecosystem, to the crypto world? I'll wait a sec so you guys can type some answers in there, but ultimately, all the crypto industry has been asking for is clarity. No one's saying hands off. Well, some people are saying hands off, but the majority aren't saying hands off or, crush it. It's saying let's put guardrails on him. You took it from MIT, Jill? Wow, pretty amazing. That'd be kind of cool to have taken the class with him. I hope it was a good class because it doesn't seem like he really favors it at all. And by the way, he taught the class at MIT, but he said under oath he's never owned cryptocurrency and he does not own any cryptocurrency. It's like trying to take sex advice from marriage therapy from someone who's never been married. kind of want you to have been there before to know what we're going through. There you go, Tom and Margaret. It will stabilize it a little bit. Absolutely. And I think what it will do, it will usher in an air of confidence into the markets with regards to cryptocurrency. And that could facilitate the next big bull market run. There's still a lot of areas in crypto that are Wild West. There's way too many scams. I mean, even Gensler doesn't know what he's talking about. How many, you guys might remember, in that interview he just mentioned, he said that there are 10 to 12,000 tokens, right? You guys remember that? Let me see if I can bring this up here real quick. He said there's 10 to 12,000 tokens. Well, if you go here to CoinMarketCap, just look in the upper right-hand corner, or upper left-hand corner. I'll even make it really clear for you. Cryptos, 23,473. Crazy? I mean, he just said under oath that there's 10 to 12,000. Clearly, this man is out of touch and does not understand this industry. It'd be like me saying, oh, how many stocks are there in the United States? Well, I know that there's roughly 7,000, but I'm going to go, 3,000? Then obviously it's clear I don't know what I'm talking about. So, crazy. Anyway. Keep the charlatans out of the market. I agree. That's one thing I love about the crypto class that I'm involved with, that I built and teach, is I'm knee deep in it. I mean, I own a lot of different cryptos. I trade. I'm involved with it every single day, researching, buying, selling, transferring, storing. To me, you can't take advice from somebody who doesn't do something, right? If you're going to take advice and from anybody who claims to be a professional, they better be good at what they do. Well, Gensler doesn't know crypto. If he says that he's never owned it, what that means is you have never actually sent crypto from an exchange to a wallet. You don't know what wallet. You never had a wallet to use because you have nothing to fill it with. You don't know how any of this stuff works. How are you making the rules on it? And that's actually one of the questions that came up from McHenry a little bit later on. He says, if you've never had any, then how are you the one qualified to be making the rules for it? It was really just like, I wanted to stand up and just ovation for these senators, like lay it on them, grill them. There were 10 to 12,000 coins based on the Merlin. Look, when I started doing the crypto class back in 2020, God, was it 2020? Maybe in 2000. Oh, actually, I built it in 2017. There was like 12,000 back then, and now we're at 23,000. It's pretty crazy. Can Toyota be competitive in EV and their CEO trying to push hydrogen-powered engines, but refueling may be a problem? Yeah, that's been Toyota's kind of problem. They wanted the fuel cell thing for the longest time. And, it's one thing to build a vehicle that is efficient and is great based off a new alternative energy technology. But if you can't get the charging stations and allow people to take that vehicle and go long distances, loses a lot of its value. And that's one area that I'm actually really impressed with Tesla. I drive to Northern California every so often, and it seems like every gas station in the back of it, there's a supercharging station for Tesla. Now, for all of you tree-hugging, green, clean air people, it's always funny to me that the power charging station for Tesla is basically a giant generator with like 4 little boxes on front that you can plug into. So it's still burning fuel to generate the electricity to charge your Tesla, which is clean energy. Oh boy. Do we want the head of the SEC with a vested interest? I would say we do. Because if you're going to be making rules about the way that a structure or a system works, but you don't actually use that structure or system, then how are you qualified to make rules about it, right? Going back to the example of having a marriage counselor that's never been married, how can you give me personal advice about the dynamics of a marriage if you've never experienced that, right? Am I going to take batting lessons in baseball from a guy who's never played baseball? No, I'm absolutely not. I want Tony Gwynn being my batting coach. Why? He's one of the greatest hitters to ever play the game. But, I would use my brother. My brother Mason, he never played baseball. Surprised if he ever swung a bat. I'm not going to let him give me baseball advice on how to swing a bat. So I want my SEC guy who's making rules for crypto to be involved with it. And another thing that's interesting here is the SEC has stifled all requests for a Bitcoin ETF, an exchange-traded fund. We have a futures Bitcoin ETF, but we do not have an exchange-traded fund that is spot, meaning they actually hold Bitcoin. This may be a potential play for you as well. I mentioned this morning in my digital assets session for OTA. Well, let's go over here and look at the chart of Tom Barr's favorite, GBTC. So here's GBTC on a daily time frame. Now, for those of you who might be new, GBTC was supposed to be 1/1000th of a Bitcoin. And you can see currently GBTC is trading at $16.35. So based off that simple math conversion, that would imply that Bitcoin is trading at $16,350. However, you can see right here, Bitcoin's trading at $29,265. So there's a disconnect here. And the reason for that, there's several reasons, but the main one is that this is a trust, and there's certain ways that they can liquidate or add new Bitcoin into the trust. When people sell it, it may trade at a discount to Bitcoin, which is what's happening right now. Technically, this is trading at a almost $13,000 discount to Bitcoin, right? This line up at the top here, the zero line, that's if GBTC was at that price, then it would be worth the price of one Bitcoin. So the rules that the SEC has put in place is only allowed for the futures. Given what's going on, there was actually questions from Congress about the Bitcoin ETF, and Emmers would basically said, you and your committee team, Gensler, have stifled progress. You've stifled innovation. You have needlessly and unnecessarily prevented Bitcoin ETFs from coming to market. So I think you'll probably see one happen here pretty soon. I think there's an unbelievable amount of pressure coming from the government, or at least some of these regulators, to say, give us a Bitcoin ETF, a spot one. Now, why am I bringing this up with GBTC? Because GBTC was one of the main, applicants. They keep applying over and over again to convert GBTC into an ETF. It's a trust right now. What that means is if GBTC is allowed to convert to a Bitcoin ETF, which it's already been trading for a couple of years now, that means that this should instantly go up to par value. What I mean by that is GBTC right here. That means that right now it's trading at $16.35. If this is allowed to convert to an ETF, then this should jump almost instantly up to the current price of Bitcoin, which is $28,975. So GBTC should be $28.94 right now. So that would be an interesting one to keep your eye on as a potential play for the ETF part rolling out. And again, I don't think it's going to happen in the next couple months, but maybe by the end of the year, certainly by next year, we'll have that Bitcoin ETF spot, and it may be GBTC rolling over. Just throwing that out there for some of you speculators who might want to take a stab in the dark on a crypto play. All right, let me go through what's happening for 420. Happy pre-420 Eve. Well, we may actually get Tesla or Elon Musk launching Starship tomorrow on 420. How convenient that on 420 Elon Musk gets to launch this rocket. Fingers crossed it happens. I'm really excited to see that one go down. But here's some of your economic, let me rephrase that. Excited to see that one go down. That doesn't work for a rocket launch. I'm really excited to see that rocket launch succeed. How about that? Here is your economic calendar for tomorrow. For the ECB, the wee hours of the morning, you've got their monetary policy meeting accounts. For the U.S., we do have some unemployment data coming out tomorrow. You've got unemployment claims. You have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, which, remember, the Empire State was positive, even though they expected it to be negative. That may happen with Philly as well. The biggest news for tomorrow will be existing home sales, at least for me, to see how that dropping interest rate on that 10-year has impacted home sales, and is it going to start to surge back up? You also have natural gas storage, and then a whole bunch of people speaking from the FOMC. Might be interesting if there's any comments regarding the SEC testimony. You can see here you got Member Brown, Member Waller, and Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yellen will be speaking as well. And lastly, it's earnings again. For tomorrow, you have, before market open, you've got AT&T, Blackstone Group, you've got American Express, Philip Morris, Nokia, Union Pacific, Rite Aid, and Nucor. And then after market closes, a quiet day, you have CSX and you have Seagate Technologies reporting earnings tomorrow. All right, I see a bunch of question marks. Let me real quickly look at those. Let's see. Do we really want that? Yes, I want him with the vested interest. Absolutely. That Gary Gensler is like, oh, that's a good one. I like that, Pepe. Gary Gensler is like the Sam Seiden of the FTC, barely traded and was very red in his trades. Woo! Ouch! Sizzling. David says, I get that, but we all want the SEC to stop trading and manipulating the market. Would it be better if he didn't trade but have a clue to his industry and said, yeah, I'm not saying I want him as a full-time crypto trader. You just need to understand the technology and how it works. And I felt that if there was somebody in there that did, we may have a much clearer understanding of what's a security and not. I mean, the fact that the SEC keeps issuing Wells notices to companies like Coinbase and to Kraken and a lot of these exchanges, there's an agenda there, and you're purposely keeping the rules opaque and mysterious so the companies get in trouble and you can sue them, or you're just inept at your job. I personally think it's the prior. I think that there's an agenda from the current administration to give these rules that are vague, which will allow you to sue right away, because that's the situation we're in. Coinbase made it very public, and I think they did themselves a good thing by making this public. They tweeted out, "We would love to work with the SEC to find out what are securities and what are commodities to make our platform safer for consumers." Then the lawyer reached out, sent an email to the SEC saying, "Hey, we'd like to set up a meeting, because of this, that, and the other thing." And then the response from the SEC was, "You will be receiving a Wells notice by Monday." So hold on, we're asking for help, and now you just say we're going to sue you. There's an agenda there. Something's wrong. A lack of willingness to help. And again, hopefully this gets that fixed. But if you want your entertainment for the day, watch the Emmers part of that interview. It's brilliant. Just like Leo Bender didn't play guitar. He was still around. All right, Beto is my boy. You like Beto? See, here's my problem with Beto is, what does it represent? Yes, it's Bitcoin futures, but look at the price. It's $17.25. What is that in a relationship with a Bitcoin? You don't see the fees. You don't see how it's pegged. You don't see anything like that. What's the latest on Dan Sugar? I don't know. I know Dan Sugar, multi-generation family, multi-generation floor trader. Yeah, Dan's been fine. I knew Dan back in the day. Oh, hello, John. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. I want to get back downstairs, take my dog for a walk, and then I got to get my class ready for tonight. Personal finance class in the living room of Merlin today. Tomorrow, again, we're going to have John O'Donnell talking about the U.S. dollar, potentially losing reserve currency status. Is it? Who knows? It's all opinions at this point, but it seems to be a really big buzz topic. A lot of people freaking out. Might even talk a little bit about the Fed now situation. So John O'Donnell will be my guest for tomorrow. I may actually have a little glass of whiskey for tomorrow's show because I'm not doing a show on Friday. As you guys know, I'm going to go to Los Angeles to the Hollywood Bowl for 3 nights to go see my favorite band. So that will do it for today. Again, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, send them on in at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. Is this on your screen? Or put them down below any of the YouTube videos. I will get to all those. I hope you guys have a fantastic remainder of your day. Do something fun. Watch those interviews. They'll make your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.